Hello, I know I look a riot, but the reason's been because I've just got out the shower, and what I figured was today was like the first time I'd really been in the nude in front of the mirror. Not in the nude, I've got pants on and a bra, but I kind of looked at myself in a mirror. So currently 13 weeks, what day is it today? Oh god, Wednesday? Currently 13 weeks, will be 14 weeks this weekend. According to the hospital, be Friday. I think it's this weekend. But I thought I would show you what my body is like at the moment, because initially, like I say, like in my first pregnancy, I was a little bit like, oh my god, like I've not got a bump for ages, and I had so much bloating at the start. You're like, oh, a little something there, and I think by the time we got to maybe like, I don't know, 15, 16 weeks, I was like, it's just nothing there again. And this time I do feel like there's a bump. But it's funny because if you'd asked me maybe like at weeks 11, 10 or 11, I felt like I was out to here. And I felt like there were certain days, even as the day goes on, like in the morning I get up, my belly looks like my belly. And then towards the end of the day, it's like out here. I don't know if your muscles just give way by the end of the day and you just think, no, I'm not doing this anymore. But it's obviously still morning at the moment. I've just come out of the shower and I thought I would show you what it looks like just now at 14 weeks in a second pregnancy. Okay, so first of all, excuse the huge pants. These are the pants I bought the last time I was pregnant with Jack because they are the most comfortable pants in the world and I don't care. But if I turn to the side here, hoping you'll see, I still feel like there's not much going on, but more than there was in my first pregnancy. That's what I would say. There's definitely a little something there, right? But it's not like huge yet. We're just kind of getting there. The other thing I was going to say was that boobs wise, you'll probably see here, I have been a 34C my whole life. My whole life. And then after having Jack, I never went and got resized because, you know, who has the fucking time? And then I decided, I know during pregnancy probably not the best thing to do, but I hadn't bought a proper like underwired bra in a long time. And I was like, I need to go and get sized. I need to go and actually see what size I am. And they were like, okay, so you're still a 34, but you might be a double D, potentially an E. And I was like, what? Like, excuse me. And I still don't feel like I have a huge chest. It's certainly bigger at the moment because I'm pregnant, yes, I will give it that, but I don't have a huge bust. I'm not a busty person, so I went with the 34D. They told me to go up to 36 if I wanted to stay in the D, but 34, the actual measure size around my back here, around this bit, was 33, so in between 32 and 34. So when they said, oh, you go up to 36, and I was like, why do I want to go up to 36 if I'm a 33? That seems a bit mental. And I feel like as well, it was Marks and Sparks I went to, which are phenomenal, love them, classic. But I did feel like some of the bras they were trying to give me were very, very large. Like to the point where I was like, this doesn't look flattering. It looks like I'm very covered up, like matronly almost. So I kind of politely said to them, it's a balcony bra that I usually wear, I've worn them my whole life, and they were like, So they were basically saying like the way it's sitting just now, because there's a bit more like ooshed going on the top here, I don't know if you're going to see this, hold on, I'll come closer, because there's a bit more, see how this like cutting in, yeah, I know, they said that means it's not fitting you properly, so you need to go up to the double D. Okay, I take that on board, that's fine. However, when they went up to the double D, I mean, it's like the coverage is like up here, and the dresses that I wear usually sit here, you know, that like Empire line style. I don't know if you call it Edwardian, you know, like Bridgerton when they're all up like this. And I was like, I don't want my bra to be way up here, so I ended up going to Primark and just buying one from Primark because it was cheaper. But I did buy a nice like soft non-wired bra from Marquis, which would be great for work and also great throughout pregnancy. It's the ugliest bra you'll ever see. I'm not gonna lie, it's not attractive. It is very much like huge, big, strapping bra. It's not nice. And I've already said to Alan, I'm like, if you see me wearing this bra, just take it with a pinch of salt. I was like, it doesn't matter, it's just for comfort. But I do want to own a bra like this at times, because I will sometimes wear a dress like this. But just so you know, it is advised you wear wireless and soft bras throughout pregnancy, which I have been doing. However, today I'm going to put a dress on. I felt like wanting to treat myself a little bit, so that's what I'm doing. But you shouldn't be doing wired bras all day, every day during pregnancy, because it can affect your milk ducts and all that kind of stuff. I didn't breastfeed the first time with Jack, didn't go to plan because basically he was in the NICU and things like that. So, you know, it's totally up to you. If you're not going to breastfeed, you might not care, but, you know, they just say you shouldn't really wear them during pregnancy. Not good for you. So, I've got one on today. I'm aware before anybody starts shouting at me, but it's because I want to wear a frock today. And I just don't really care. I just want to look good today. But yeah, I thought I would show you my 14 weeks bumperoo. Yeah, it's kind of getting there. What do we think? Hey, I'm just checking in with you again because I'm currently almost 18 weeks at the moment. I'm 17 and 5 or something at the moment. Oh, I don't know. People definitely say, like, in your second pregnancy you don't keep up with time, like how many weeks are you and all that kind of stuff as much. I would tend to agree with that because you just don't have time to think. I also am just out of shower, so I am currently just doing my skincare while I film this, and I thought I may as well give you a little check-in. I don't have another scan until I am 19 weeks, which will be my anomaly, what do you call it, anatomy scan, because they do mine a little bit earlier. I'm not sure why they done it last time as well, and I did end up with another one at like 21 weeks anyway. So I've got that coming up within the next couple of weeks. The fear, the anxiety that I had first time round has kicked in now, because I can't help but keep thinking, is everything okay? I've not felt movements yet. And I think obviously with your first, you worry about things like that because you're like, oh, I can't feel baby moving. But a lot of the time you're very much reassured, like 18 to 24 weeks, that's when you might start feeling something, blah, blah, blah. If it's past, you know, 20 weeks, 24 weeks, then you should start thinking about what the hell's going on here. But I have also read the fact that in your second pregnancy, like, you should feel things quicker. So I've not felt anything. I thought I was getting some sort of fluctuation maybe at about 15 weeks, but I really haven't felt much at all, and it's really not getting to me. But I just wish it would start now, because I'm starting to worry about it. I'm also starting to worry, as I'm sure any woman, but it's your first, your second, third, fifth, sixth, whatever, starting to worry, like, is the scan going to be okay? Is it going to be alright? The fear has now really started to set in. It really has. What is this up here? I don't think you are going to see it on this camera. It doesn't really look like very much, but there's a big scratch on my head here. And I don't think anybody has scratched me. Okay, well, sorry, that was really annoying because my little vlog camera died and I realised I haven't charged the battery for the other one in however long. So I've just stuck my big camera on, which is really cumbersome sitting there, and also if I move it I feel like it's just going to collapse because it's so big. Anyway, oh my god. I also got my hair done last week, which, if you can see, I'm so glad the colour is back in it. At the time, made me feel so much better in myself. I was like, oh yeah, get back to posting, get back to doing videos, gonna start putting some makeup on and all that kind of stuff again. Like, just made me feel a bit more me, right? However, I still am just so, I don't feel I'm quite as exhausted as I was. I feel a little bit better. But I feel very apathetic about things. Like, I can't really be bothered doing them at the moment. I still haven't really posted anything at all on Instagram at this point. And by the time you see these videos, like, obviously you're going to understand. But for everybody who is completely in the dark about this at the moment, they're probably just thinking, like, and I don't have loads of followers and fans. Like, that's not what I'm claiming. But they are probably just thinking, like, I wonder where she went. I wonder what happened. Like, she's just given up. And I haven't given up, but I have lost the urge to do things at the moment, because, to be honest with you, it just feels like as if it's far too much effort. Like, life is busy enough. I work evenings and weekends now. I've got Jack during the day a lot of the time. He's at nursery today, so that's fine. But yeah, on those days, like those nursery days, that's usually the time I'd be like, oh, do you know what, I'm going to get a little YouTube video done, I'm going to do something. I actually got sent over really recently, like, 2 lovely PR bundles, one from L'Oreal and one from, what's the other one from? I think it's Gen Z. And I'm just like, It's now going to look weird just to come back and be like, let's talk about this, and I've not been on speaking about everything. So the longer you don't do it, the more you feel like it's going to be strange to come back and do it without letting the cat out of the bag and saying, listen, this is why I've been away. So as time goes on, I'm like, maybe I should just leave it and actually just come back and say, hey, this is where I've been and that's why I've been so quiet. Whereas in my first pregnancy, obviously, I did manage to continue to pose, continue to do things, and then let the cat out of the bag quite late. This time, I just don't have the energy. It's more the energy to like be bothered. Like I say, the drive to want to do it at the moment is quite low. There's a lot of things going on. Obviously, like I said, I've got Jack most of the time. If I don't have Jack, I'm at work. I'm trying to enjoy time with Alan, family, things like that. And that on top of the fact that I kind of feel a little bit like, it just feels like my priority isn't talking about makeup at the moment. I'm barely getting makeup on every other day of the week. I'm not even wearing it to work anymore. Like for instance, got my hair done last week, and normally every single time I've had to have my hair done, I would be like, well, I've washed it, now I'm going to blow dry it into a nice blow dry, you know. And at the moment I'm sitting here thinking, I just want to go and eat a baked potato and sit on the couch and watch something. Like, I can't be bothered at all. And it's sad, because I feel like the first time round as well, because I fell pregnant in 2021, there was still a lot of lockdown stuff going on, still a lot of COVID going on, stuff like that. And there was a lot of community still on Instagram, people doing challenges and everything. So I could kind of creep in and be like, oh, there's a challenge, I'll join in on that, because everybody's still doing it and it didn't look too suspect that I was like only showing pictures from the head up or what have you. And like I say, nobody really gives a shit. Like, I'm not thinking people are all in some sort of big conspiracy as to why I'm not posting anymore. I think people genuinely just won't really care. But it's just, I feel like the community is gone. The community is gone from Instagram, whether I am on there or not. And it's really difficult because I don't really know where to start posting again. And I actually feel like I just want to post pictures of Alan and Jack and shit about my life, which I've said on this channel as well. Like, I just want to post what I want to post. I never ever set out to be like, I am a makeup YouTuber or a makeup Instagrammer. It just kind of fell that way because it's something that I really, really enjoy and really like, you know what I mean? But in pregnancy, I just, I cannot be bothered. And it's sad because I've kind of built up that like following as such, even though it's tiny, and I've built up a little community of people on here myself. Usually at this time of year I'd be thinking about doing like the self-tan trials. Obviously I'm not going to be doing that because I'm going to be like, you'll notice my bump now. There's no way that I'm going to be hiding that. We go on holiday in a couple of weeks. We're going to Greece. It's just nice to get away and not have a camera in people's faces, because, you know, some people don't like it and it's a bit uncomfortable. Life just seems to have shifted a bit. And that, along with just a lot of anxiety around my pregnancy at the moment, and the fact that even stuff, again, this is nothing to do with my chronic illness or the chronic conditions that I've got, but even just stuff like starting to now feel like I adore my son. Like, I adore him. He is the best thing since sliced bread. And I know every parent will say that about their child, like, oh, love my kids. I do love my kid, obviously, but he's just brilliant. He's just a little, firecracker funny, like learning so much every day, just, and I'll not be like, this will not be news to anybody. If you're a parent yourself, I'm sure you've probably felt this way. It's not like I'm inventing the wheel here with these feelings, but it's almost like as well, I'm starting to now be like, how do you share that love? How do you like spread that out to another person that obviously you're gonna just love and adore when they arrive anyway? And that's not me being all the kind of like gushy, like, oh, the first time I seen my child, it was just like instant attraction. I'm not meaning that. I think like for some people it takes a wee bit longer to get there. For me, it was a little difficult because he was in NICU. I didn't get to see him for the first like fucking 6 hours of his life. Like, I was in recovery, he was up in NICU. I didn't see him. Do you know what I mean? So all that kind of, what am I trying to say? Like rose tinted kind of huggy kind of stuff about motherhood and when you give birth, right? I'm not saying that, but I'm saying to you, once we were home and once things got settled in and we found our feet, and of course he drives me mental sometimes, and as he's grown and as he becomes his amazing little personality, like I love him to death. Sometimes I just hold him, and you know,
he's still at an age where he quite likes a little cuddle and he might fall asleep. 9 times he sleeps in his own bed. He's so good. He sleeps overnight a lot of the time. But in the evening when I'm reading him a book, if he starts to get a bit noddy, then he'll cuddle into me and I just gaze at him and I'm just like, you are amazing. You are just such an amazing little boy and I just adore you. I could just eat your face. Like, you're just beautiful. And he is. He's just such an absolute joy. So then I'm like, how do you spread that? And how do you, that's starting to worry me. And I think it's something that worries Alan as well. Like, I don't think it's just me. Alan's like, you know, Jack's my boy. Like, Jack's my man. Like, and I don't mean he's like, oh, lads. He's not like that at all, actually. Alan's just not really that type of guy. But it just, you just have so much for them that then you get to a point where you're like, when this next one comes, like, how does it work? How does this happen? And people have obviously reassured me and been like, it just does, don't worry about it. But I just feel like, oh, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming the way I'm feeling at the moment. And again, obviously hormones are probably doing a number on me just now. But there's just a lot in my mind. Also, this June, it is currently May as I speak to you, this June will be 20 years of me and Alan know each other. And at the moment, again, like, I'm going to get all emotional and I'm not trying to be emotional in this video. It's just the hormones, I fucking promise you. But at the moment, something about me and Alan knowing each other for 20 years. Like, we met each other June when I was 17, I'm now 37. He was 20. And we obviously didn't get together at that point, but that we met each other. And I'm just like, something about that's making me really emotional just now. Like, I've known this person for 20 years. When I met them when I was 17, when we were just daft and like on a holiday, did I ever for a second think this is where we would be? And it makes me feel so emotional. And I'm so, I'm so proud to have him as my partner. And sometimes we argue about stupid shit. And sometimes I get really angry about it. And sometimes, like, he's angry too. But sometimes I'm just like, again, maybe it's hormones at the moment. Sometimes I'm like, and I just can't help myself. But the long and short of it is, like, he's my person. He's my person. Like, we're not married. I think I've mentioned that before. Like, we have no intention of getting married. We have no desire to want to get married. We don't really care. But I just have this person that I've been or have known now for 20 years, and did I ever think this is where we would be? And something about it just makes me feel like so happy, but obviously very emotional as well. And this is why I'm not making YouTubes at the moment and Instagrams and all that kind of stuff, because I am in the thick of it. I am in the thick of anxiety, worry, emotion, happy, sadness. And I don't even think I really spoke about that in my first pregnancy. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and watch the vlogs, but I just feel like this time I'm so aware of it. I'm so aware of it. And I just, how do you cope? And I know I was like this in my first pregnancy, because I would watch bloody MasterChef and the music would come on MasterChef, and it was only whenever the music hit and I would be like, oh, like, it's just stupid shit. I think I burst into tears because I ate a lasagna just towards like the end of my first trimester, because I was like not able to eat so much, and then I managed to eat this lasagna. I told my friend Tara this. I was like, well, I managed to eat lasagna, and I burst into tears because I'm just like, that was such a feat. It just felt like such a mission to do it, and I've done it. And so I did feel like this first time round as well, but I'm just hyper aware of it just now. I feel like there's not a lot to take my mind off the fact that I don't know, I don't feel like doing YouTube just now. And as I say, once this video comes out, then people will be like, it makes a lot of sense why she wasn't doing things. But at the moment, I also think people will just be like, and there's so many kind people like who just check in with me every now and again, when it's Instagram, YouTube, whatever. And they'll be like, how are you doing? Like, not seen anything from you in a while, is everything okay? And I'm like, yeah, everything's fine, just really busy. And even then I feel like I'm being a bit standoffish. I ended up messaging a friend and like saying to them, I just want you to know, like, it's nothing to do with you, I'm just in a place at the moment. And they were like, didn't even give it a second thought, it's okay, don't worry about it. And I was just like, my mind is just everywhere just now. And what time are we at? Yeah, I'm going to have some lunch now. Diabetes wise, I suppose I better give you a check in on that. I'm getting frustrated with my team. I'm saying that, I'm not getting frustrated with my team. I'm getting frustrated with teams in general. I say this, and maybe if you are someone who is diabetic, I know there's a few of you that watch me who are also diabetic. As someone who's diabetic and desperately wanted to be, or wants to be, a diabetic specialist nurse, it is very easy for people in healthcare, as a person who works in healthcare themselves, to put people in boxes and read textbooks and be like, here's the best practice, here's this, here's that, here's what the textbook says, here's what we're supposed to do. And for the majority of the time, these are, you know, evidence-based studies, they are peer-reviewed, it is the safest way to do things. I wouldn't for a second be like, ha, I'm just going to do it this way, because I feel like, no, that's not what I'm saying. Do things right, do things safely. However, it is easy then for people sometimes to forget, people who work in healthcare, and I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me on this, that there are humans at the other side of things. And what I mean by that is, like, my team are always really, really happy with me because I manage my diabetes to the best of my ability, and majority of the time it's really good. Pregnancy makes that a lot harder, and you get insulin resistance. You have to take a lot more insulin for, like, what I used to take to have a roll is now maybe double what, well, it's not at the moment, but it might get that way in pregnancy. You have to really up the insulin intake to compete with maybe just eating something that's not even that big. These things happen, and these people work with lots of different pregnant people on the daily, and they know what the kind of routines, what the best practice is for people. But sometimes one size doesn't fit all, and I'm very much feeling that way at the moment, because they're very fixated on stopping hypos, which I am not having loads of, but I was having more of, so that they have achieved that. However, what I was trying to tell them was the low blood sugars are happening more because I'm being sick, because I'm nauseous, because maybe, for instance, I'll take my insulin, and I'll take my insulin, like, let's say 10 minutes before I'm due to eat, and then maybe Jack gets up out of his bed and I don't get a chance to finish the meal I started. There's not any, like, it's not because I'm just, like, taking too much insulin for what I was eating. It's not because I was like, oh, you know, it was life. Life was causing the hypos. It wasn't actually anything to do, I felt, with my carb ratios or my incremental dose or anything like that. And I'm talking pump language there, so I'm sorry if you're diabetic, so you're not on a pump and you're probably like, what the fuck are you talking about? You'll know about carb ratios. But they started to get really fixated on it, so they've increased my carb ratio instead of decreasing it in pregnancy, which is normally what you have to do because you have got increased insulin resistance, right? So they've increased it with the hope that my pump stops kind of cutting off my background insulin, because that's what's happening. A bolus, the background insulin cuts off because there's so much insulin in the system. They think that was causing hypos. I dispute that. So my theory is that actually they have hammered it into me. They've done the same to me the last time I was pregnant. You need to be taking your insulin 15 minutes before you eat. And as we go on, further studies have shown in recent, what do you call that, seminars that they've been to, say, even in pregnancy, it has to be 20 to 30 minutes before you eat. Okay, and I've done it. And I've done what they've asked me over the last 2 weeks. And I'm fucking telling you, it's not working. So I, through gritted teeth, was like, I'm going to do what they're telling me. And also through stubbornness, because once it's not working, I'm going to be able to go, fucking told you so, because I'm a dick. But I felt like by taking that insulin, so let's just say I take my insulin at 11 o'clock and I'm due to eat at 20 past. So that's 20 minutes before, 20 to 30 minutes, I could push it to half an hour if by there going. However, what I find is, if I started with a blood sugar of 6, which is totally normal, and by the time we get to 10 past, quarter past, it's going down towards low 5s, maybe 4, 6, you know, it's going down. Background insulin cuts off. I'm on a lower carb ratio. I start eating at the 20 past, and within about half an hour of after eating, it rockets up, like rockets. And then it takes forever to get back down again. I think for 2 reasons. 1, because they reduced my incremental dose. And 2, because they, again, to avoid hypos. And 2, because they have increased my carb ratio. When I tried to tell them that was not the reason I think this was happening. But I've done what they've told me. And it's fucking frustrating me. Because I know my own body. I have been diabetic for 25 years. I've been on a pump for 15 of them. I just want to tell him to fuck off is the honest truth at this point. I just want to, and that's why it frustrates me, the fact that I never got the job as a diabetic specialist nurse, because I just feel like someone who has lived with this, they work it, they go to work and, you know, they're working it 8 hours a day. As a doctor, maybe they've done a lot more study into it, a lot more reading into it, as a nurse as well, but I'm just saying, like, maybe they've done a little bit more. Consultant endocrinologist or diabetic consultant, they're going to be way more clued up on a lot of different things than I am. I don't claim that I am that. However, I live with this minute by minute, second by second, and I'm telling you, what they've done has not aided things. I was in the high 80s to 90% control. I am now in the mid 70s. And it is just not getting it back up there since they made these changes. So she said she's going to review it tomorrow. I'm going to see what she comes back with. But if there's any mention of reducing this, increasing this carb ratio anymore, that I have to take less insulin, I'm going to say no. And I'm going to say to them, I'm not doing that. And you're 20 to 30 minutes before, I'm not doing that either, because it's not working. It's no working. But they wanted to try and avoid hypos. And it's just frustrating me. I'm sorry, that went really, really medical really quickly there, and it wasn't really my intention. I am going to go and eat now because it is now 2:30 and I did take my insulin. But it's just frustrating. It's really frustrating me at the moment. There's a lot going on and I feel like, oh, I know we're only in trimester 2 and I don't actually feel, I feel fat at the moment. I know I've got a bump, it's not able to hide, but I feel like it's not able to hide that I've gained weight. Rather than looking like I'm pregnant just now. That's frustrating me as well, because I just feel like I just look like I've put some pounds on rather than looking pregnant. And that's again a reason why in my first pregnancy I just hid for a lot of the time, and then when I actually looked pregnant I was like, hey guys, like I'm 28 weeks and I've actually been pregnant the whole time and not told anybody. And this time I just can't be bothered. I just can't. Not with the baby or the pregnancy, I just can't be bothered with the social interaction of it, even though I'm sitting here talking to a camera because it makes me feel better. But obviously out with this vlog being all pregnancy related, I don't want to talk about others like latest trends, and you know, usually with me going on holiday I'd be like, oh, here's my, maybe I've picked up a few things to go away with, here's my packing, blah blah blah. I don't want to do that because I'm not going to be able to do a try on. I'm not going to be able to be like, here's my outfits of the day, because I'm quite obviously pregnant and I've not told anybody. So it is what it is. I'm going to leave it here. This was actually a really long check-in, so this part I can tell now, trimester 2 is going to be really long. I'm really sorry. Maybe I'll split this one into 2. Maybe that would be a better idea. But anyway, I'm going to go and eat now. I'll see you all again in the next one. Bye.